Hi to you all. How are you? It's lovely here in the north. It's actually sunny. There's a bit of sunshine out. It's freezing cold, but there is some sunshine out, which means we can all start our day with a smile. Now, whatever you're up to today, I hope you're staying tuned in with us on Crafters TV for the whole day, because boy, have we got jam-packed shows. Actually, that had a little, I should have said, I just thought that, I should have said jam-packed shows, not jam-packed shows, because we have an amazing lady in the building, which I'll introduce you to in just a second. Now, the day is starting on a high with a masterclass, which I always love. Masterclass for me are the best shows because they really do show in depth of how you look into something and gives you that all-round 101 on everything that we're showing, and I absolutely love that. Now, it is Sunday morning, so I'd love to know what you're up to on maybe this Sunday lazy morning, or maybe you're off to church, you might be off to a craft club, you might be going around to meet friends, you might be having, as our George just said, a lovely Sunday roast, which some of us in the studio are having. Are you having one, George? Oh, he's having a roast dinner. We're having our large Yorkshire pudding with all the meats inside. It's just incredible. I love coming up on a Sunday just for the roast dinner. I'm not worried about Crafters TV. I just want that roast dinner. That's what I'm here for. But it's going to be amazing. Now, I have to tell you a few different things of what's on the day. Now, you know you can shop the day, which is absolutely so easy that you can go onto our website. There's lots of deals on there. We've got 10% off. We've got showstoppers. We've got an amazing showstopper. Before I tell you any more, though, I am going to introduce the lovely lady herself. It's always a pleasure to work with her, and I learned so much because I can't wait to see what she's got coming up today. It's our lovely Jan. Morning, Jan.
Good morning. Yes, we were just saying it's been a while, hasn't it? We're such a bit like ships that pass in the night. Although we're all on the same team, we don't actually cross paths that many times, do we?
Very often.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it because we've not done this for ages, have we?
No, not for ages.
So yeah,
at
it's going to be a good day. We've got a nice lineup coming up. We've got lots of goodies. You know, when I'm here, it's usually messy, which it's going to be. We've got inks. We've got things coming up later on First Look. Yeah, so yeah, really looking forward to it, Debbie.
Oh, it's going to be amazing, and it looks like we've got lots of you in already. So Lois is in saying good morning. Rachel's on our socials, so good morning, Rachel. Gareth's in. Gareth was crafting with us on Craft Along the other day. So Gareth's in saying good morning. Elizabeth is in saying good morning to you all from Swaffham in Norfolk. That's near to where I used to live. Angela's in saying that she's in Indiana, where it's been a mixture between rain and snow. Yes, I think that's a sort of across the board at the moment. Lind is in this morning saying beautiful sunny day from the Isle of Wight. Christine Clark is in saying good morning. Lisa is in as well, and Rachel is saying good morning from Florida. Sarah Brown is in from Australia, and our lovely Christine Mahoney is in saying good morning to everyone. We are now in daylight saving time, so it's really an hour later here, 7 instead of 6 o'clock, which is great. So yes, it will be lighter out there again, which is always nice, isn't it, when we get lighter evenings, which is great. Right, first things first, I've got to show you that showstopper, which is our daily deal. It is, sorry, not our showstopper, this is our daily deal. We have another showstopper. The daily deal is our Say It With Style. Now, can we just take a minute to appreciate that price? You are saving over 50%. Look at that platinum price, £80 or $104. Absolutely incredible. Now, when this launched, you might remember me telling you that I can't believe no one has invented something like this before. To have a stamp set, which we get all the time, we get a whole sheet of burst stamps and sentiments or tags or anything, to then have a die that fits over those stamps, not just one, but two of them. I mean, look how incredible they are. You're getting two incredible die sets in this collection, so you can see the value already of what you're getting in here, and you're getting so much more. So I'm going to bring all these in. Now, you can see on the front shot that we've got here, we've got the binder, which keeps all your stamp sets in, and then you've got your little box of goodies here, which are all your consumables. Now, in those consumables, let me just check I've got these the right way round. You're getting, and I mean all of these. First of all, let's show you the stamps. So these are your stamp sets. like this. This is how they're going to come to you. So your actual stamp sets you'll get like this. They will go on a plastic sheet that will go inside that folder. And then what you would do is you take those or whichever ones you're going for, you take that, place it on the top once you stamp them out, and you get the most amazing sentiments. These are just incredible. They've all got the hole punches in for you to store them in your folder. And when they're done, these are the sorts of things that you can be doing. Now these sheets of card that I'm showing you all come within that box, so you're getting all these different colours to lay over. You literally stamp this set out like that, lay the die out, and that's what it's going to cut out. These have been invaluable for me since we got them out. I keep loads of them free in my folder, so whenever I need a sentiment, there is something for everybody, and I mean everybody. These go through the family, they go through every occasion, they go through Christmas. You've got something for everyone to be able to create all these different pieces. You're getting twine and ribbon in here as well. You're getting your card blanks. You're getting so much. And look at the different things that you could be creating with these tags. So don't just think about white cardstock or your coloured, your craft cardstock, heat embossing gold onto black, doing all these different banners and bunting, adding ribbons to them. I think this is an incredible deal today, so don't miss out on that while we've got over 50% off, which is incredible value. Absolutely love that one. And what's nice is you get that beautiful folder and that amazing set, that box that you can keep and just have it lovely looking on your shelves. Now, did I tell you about the showstopper? Yes, you heard it. I've got a showstopper on our ink pads. Now, what you can see here is different colours, first of all, and I don't mean colours of ink pads. We've got different colours. We do our brown ones, so where we've got a brown enclosure. They're our pigment ink pads. We do a purple one, which are our quick dry in, and we do our blue or black ones. If you've got blue or black, they are our water reactive ink pads. We're changing our new packaging all over to the blue. So don't think just because you've got black ones, like you can see a black one in there. If you've got a black one, that's still exactly the same ink pad. It's just that we decided to put these variations of colours so you knew exactly what you were getting. Now, this whole ink pad set is incredible. It is our showstopper. You're also not only getting all of those ones, you're also getting your translucent ink as well, which is like your sticky ink, which is incredible. So you're getting that in the bundle. You're actually saving £65 on this. It's £120 or $180. So if you wanted to delve in and get all those ink pads in one go, you're getting 31 ink pads plus all your bonus points to take you maybe up to that next level. You might just need those to take you up to platinum. They're all coming in that showstopper, which is incredible. Now, before I go any further, we're going to find out, if you're wondering what all these ink pads are about, why we've got 3 different colours, why we've got 3 different ink pads or 4 different ink pads with the translucent, our Jan's going to be telling us all about it and breaking it down for you. So Jan, explain.
I thought this would be a really good place to start, and I know we've done it in the past, but there's always new viewers here at Crafters TV. So first of all, hello. If it's your first time joining us, let us know, don't be shy. But yeah, I just wanted to go through the difference because I still see questions on a daily basis on social media about which ink pad is best for this or best for that. So I've taken the 3 sets of Harmony ink pads that we've got on the show today. So these are all by Spectrum Noir, which is our sort of colouring umbrella. So anything that involves colour, whether it be inks, whether it be pens, whether it be things like sparkle pots, anything like that comes under the Spectrum Noir branding within Crafters Companion. And then the range, the coloured range of ink pads is referred to as Harmony. And like Debbie's just said, we've got a quick drying ink, which is literally what it says on the tin. I'm going to demonstrate that one for you. We've got an opaque pigment ink, which is a little bit wetter, and this one's really good for embossing, which I'm going to demonstrate for you. And then we've got a water reactive ink, which is nice for blending. So I'm going to do a little sort of quick demo, not a finished project, just a quick technique demo with these to show you the differences and what the best uses are. Now, I think Debbie's in the same camp as I am. My go-to ones are the pigment inks every time.
I love
every
them so
time.
much.
And I will blend with these as well. So these will both do the blending. This one was designed for blending and distressing. This one's designed for blending and then the heat embossing, which I thought I'd show you today. So we're going to start with the water reactive ones, and I'm just going to bring in a couple of colours. Excuse the J's on them, all right? Yours come nice and clean. This is from when I was teaching, and I had to sort of distinguish which were mine and which ones belonged to the shop. So yeah, what I'm going to do is just take a little bit of all-purpose, multi-purpose cardstock, so the white cardstock, and I'm going to work onto there with my Spectrum Noir ink applicators. Now these come, and again, questions we get asked are about the round tools versus the rectangular tools. This came up when I was here last week, and it is, in my opinion, just a matter of preference. They both pretty much do the same job. I know when I was watching Leanne the other day, she had the rectangular ones and she was using those perfectly. Personally, I prefer the round ones, but that is just my choice. If you've got the rectangular ones, you can do exactly the same as what I'm going to do here. So I've chosen Straw Bale, which is a nice sort of creamy yellow, and then I've got Grasshopper from the green range, and I'm just going to literally blend the two. So I'm going to start off with the yellow, and I tend to load up my applicator from the ink pad. You can actually pop your ink onto the mat and then pick it up from there, but I tend to just load mine up from the top of that felt ink pad there. Make sure you've got plenty of ink on your applicator, and then I'm literally just going to take it to my card, and I'm not really worried about what it looks like at this point. I think when you're doing a blended background, you do so much to it and so many different things that don't worry if it doesn't blend quite as well as you thought it should. But you can see here, just laying that colour down in 3 different places. I tend to sort of go in sets of 3. Don't know why, it's just sort of that's the way, you know, we were taught that 3s work well. And then again, I'm just going to flip it round and I'm going to bring some in from this side. So again, I'm not too worried at the minute as to what it looks like, because we're going to sort of tidy that up as we go along. Now I'm just going to grab a little bit of kitchen paper, because if I now hold this with my fingers, because it's got a water reactive sort of nature built into it, if my fingers are damp at all, it's going to lift that and you'll end up with 2 fingerprints on. So I usually just put a little bit of tissue over it to hold it now, and I'm going to bring in my second colour. So we've got that lovely green. I've got a second sponge applicator. Again, get that ink into the applicator, load it up, and then in the gaps we're just going to bring that nice green into the gaps. And I'm just going to nudge the edge of where I've got the yellow. And initially you think, oh, it doesn't blend very well, but trust me, just hang on a second. So just where we've got those gaps in here, I'm going to bring that green in.
Is that these are 2 colours that I wouldn't think to put on.
Me neither.
I've got a little bit of a habit of using the same colours, but I'm quite liking that you're doing greens and yellows. I'm
very much pinks first, teal second. But what I've done is I've tried to choose colours that are in those bundles, Debbie, so that if people are wanting to create the same idea, they're in the bundles.
Oh,
so
that's so helpful.
I sort of got all the colours out and thought, right, which ones will go together?
Yeah.
So yeah, this is not necessarily a colour scheme that I would normally work with, I must admit, but that was the reasoning behind it. And then when you've got this in place, I usually go back to my first colour and then just blend out where the 2 meet. So you're just going over that line. There's not enough ink for it to pick up here on this one, but it just softens that line. I've not even added any more ink to it. I'm just working with what's already in the applicator. And it just softens that line a little bit where you've joined the 2 colours there. So again, this way into that green, and then just that last one here.
You can really see that blending, that's amazing.
Yeah, it just softens that edge, so you've not got a definite this bit's green, this bit's yellow. It just sort of like pushes one into the other here. You can see there where it's just taken that harshness off the edge there. And then, as it says, there is a suggestion there, water reactive, means that they are made to react with the water. So I've got my spritzer here, which has just got ordinary tap water in, and I'm just going to spray some of that on the mat, just so that I've got it there to play with. And then I've got a little paintbrush. The bigger the paintbrush, the larger the splat, so it depends what you're sort of looking for. Saturate that with the water, and then just give it a little tap over your card. Now what happens here is there's some kind of magic in the ink pads, and it starts pushing the ink. and it moves it. It's really, it fascinates me, this. I could sit and do this all day.
Yes,
I'm
me
just
too.
going to move that and just wipe up the excess off the mat there. Now, the longer you leave this, the better effect you will get. But obviously, because we're demoing and we're here in the studio, what I'm going to do with a clean piece of the kitchen paper is just blot it. So I'm soaking up that excess water now, and you can just see how you get that amazing reaction with it. And you know, you can create, if you did this with blues and purples, I can straight away think about that sort of cosmic galaxy kind of look. You can do sort of an ombre effect where you start with a darker colour and go through into the lighter shades, vice versa. Lots of different ways of doing it. And then, you know, this could be, I mean, it's a little bit darker. Obviously, once it's dried, once the moisture's gone out of it, you can see roughly that's the one I did at home. And then, you know, I mean, I'm not going to do any finished projects with it, but if this was the front of your card, you know, just simply bring in a little sentiment into there.
I love that.
Possibly edging it with a little bit of black or matting and layering it on black so that it pops. And you've got the beginnings of a card there. I like to do this and then run them through an embossing folder. So you've got sort of a third layer of, you know, you've got the ink, you've got the splats, and then a little bit of texture from an embossing folder. But this mounted onto a card, either way, you know, you don't need to do an awful lot more to it. So that's your water reactive ones, and that's the main thing that I do with these. And then I'm going to move on to our opaque pigment ones. So I'll leave that one at the front there. And the opaque pigment, I'm going to do some heat embossing with on this one. So first thing I'm going to do is just bring in, and we're back to the pinks now. I was glad to see the pink was in that bundle. These are some of my favourites, I must admit. I particularly like the plum jam.
Me too.
Now I'm going to do a different technique with this to get the colour onto the background. But before I do that, I want to do a little bit of stamping, and I'm just going to pop, I just grabbed a set of stamps out of my stash. And we're going to go for a little phrase that says reach for the stars. So just on here, this is an old stamp set. Where are we? Here we go. We've got reach, stars, and four. Debbie's singing away already. And then I'm just going to grab my stamping platform, which... And then I'm just going to pop these in here. And we're going to use this with the colour and then some clear embossing powder. And that's what I like about these. It's rather than buying, if you like heat embossing, rather than buying lots of different coloured embossing powders, if you use the ink as your colour base and then add the clear embossing powder, which I've got out ready. I've got a big pot of my clear because I tend to use this one most. So we just get everything ready.
That is a big pot.
It is a big pot, yes. And do you know, I've had it a while as well. You don't really use much of the embossing powder at all. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to just position the stamps where I want them. So I've got reach. Oh, that's a different one. Let's have a look. What do we want? We want reach, that one. Further. And then stars. So just decide whereabouts you want them.
Doesn't Woody say that as well? What does he say? Reach for the sky.
There we go. And then also with that set, we had the watermark ink. So I'm going to bring this one in and work alongside the pigment inks as well. So the first coat I normally do as a sticky one, just to get my ink down there. This is not necessary. You can work straight with the opaque, but I tend to use the sticky one first, just to pop this down and give it like a base. And then we're actually going to stamp in the plum jam. So I'm going to go straight back over again now with my pigment ink in my chosen colour. And I tend to do this a couple of times because I find that the pigment inks are a little bit more pastel, I would say, in colour. If I showed you the water reactive ink in the same colour family, there's a slight difference in the shading, although it's the same colour family. So I tend to add the colour And then I tend to go for a second one. You can see that starting to come through now.
So Jan, why did you use the translucent ink to start with?
Just to get that sticky layer down so that it's got a sort of a base. It's almost like priming it ready.
Oh, okay.
It's not necessary, it's just something I've always sort of done. And as I say, it's almost like a primer, just ready to receive that colour. And I find you get a little bit stronger colour from the pigment ink as well when you've got that one underneath.
Oh, okay, good tip.
So again, we've got that at the ready, and then take it away, bring in the embossing powder, and this one, the opaque, the nature of this stays wetter for longer. So when I put my clear powder on here now, it's going to stick to the colour where I've got that wording. And can you see how it's gone sort of a little bit milky?
Yeah.
So we're going to heat emboss this now and actually get this ready. So I'm just going to make sure that I've got every bit of it coloured. Tap off the excess. I've got a little bit of spare there, and then I've just realised I haven't plugged my heat tool in. Let me just grab that from the side there. Did you hear about my little heat tool, Debbie?
Oh no, what happened?
Oh, it's gone on to pastures new.
It's gone poorly.
Yeah, after about 15 years, it's finally given up the ghost, and we've had to say goodbye to it. And honestly, it was like, it had a personality of its own here.
Did it have a name?
Not really, no.
Oh.
No, producer
like
Johnny
me,
loved it.
So what do you think of our new one?
I love this.
Yes.
I was in two minds as to whether to replace it, because they don't actually make the one that I had. I've had it that long, so I was going to replace it. I'd got another one in mind, but then when this came out, I love the fact that there's two settings on it.
Yep.
And even for the heat embossing, I still use that lower setting. You can put it onto the, if I pop it here, if you listen to the difference, it's much faster and much more intense, but I just like to use it on that lower setting so that I've got a bit of control. Now, top tip for heat embossing is to wait while your heat tool's hot. So don't just flick it on and go straight for it. It's like card will warp when you apply heat to it. So the longer the heat's on it, the more it will warp. And then I've heard people say, no, I can't get it flat again. I've tried putting it through my Gemini, and it does tend to keep that sort of ruckle in it. So if you get your heat tool as hot as it needs to be, and then just aim at one section. So I'm going to start at the bottom and work my way up. And what will happen is it heats the powder, it melts it, and then that colour will show through nice and strongly again. Our George is coming to have a look. So just at the bottom of the stars, you can see there that it's started. Can you see how it's changed now and become much brighter?
Like magic.
So we go up to, I never get tired of this, honestly. I started out with stamping and colouring and embossing, and even now to this day, I love heat embossing.
Yeah, me too.
So very different to embossing with a folder, which we tend to refer to as sort of dry embossing. But the heat embossing, it just allows you to add that little bit of something. So we get our George's already on it, look. When we catch this in the light, can you see how it's picking up that lovely shimmer in the light? And then I'm just going to carry on with that as well, because I'm going to pick a little bit up to decorate around the sides of it as well. So I'm going to start with the lighter one, which is the fuchsia. Pop a little bit out onto the mat. And then I'm just going to use my water again, just to spritz it. And then just to decorate around the edges, I'm literally just going to dip the card in and start picking up a little bit. I don't want to cover up the writing. I'm just going to go around where
I do love this technique.
Rest of it, honestly. I could spend hours. I'm always on about making backgrounds, and I could just do this. And I have them all in a box ready for if I need one.
Yeah.
Sometimes, if what we call your mojo's disappeared, and you're sitting down and you think, oh, I don't know what to do today, this is what I end up doing. Just getting the inks out, having a play, making a few backgrounds, and then, as I say, I just keep them all in a box. So I've just dried off that top layer very quickly, because I'm going to add a little bit of the darker colour into that mix as well. So we're going to bring back in the plum jam, and I'm going to do exactly the same again. So you can do this onto your glass mat, or you can do it onto a craft sheet if you have a craft sheet to work on. Spritz it just to get it going. And then I'm just going to add, in places, little bits of the darker. And there's not a massive difference in the colour. They are made to work together as a colour family. But just, and it gives you a very different effect to what we've done with the water reactive when we did the blending. So you get a very different look. And again, once you're happy with it, just give it a blast. Try and avoid your bit that you heat emboss, because the longer you apply the heat on the embossed area, the embossing powder sort of starts to shrink down and flattens again. So I'm just going around the edges of it here. Just to give it, it doesn't need to be bone dry, but just to make sure it's dry. And then, you know, you can go in here as many times as you want, just to use up your ink, get some of those splodges on. So however much you want to do, however far you want to take it, clean that bit up. And then what I tend to do is just go straight to my ink pad. And if you just bring this around the edge, just to frame it. And then I added another little stamp in, the one that I'd done at home, which was part of the set. But you can see you've got the beginnings of it there. And when I did this at home, on that stamp set, there is actually a little shooting star.
Oh, lovely.
So I've just heat embossed that one as well, just to go with it. But yeah, you can see how you've got a very different look to what you do with the water reactive ones. Now you can do this method with the water reactive, and you can do this method with the opaque pigment, so you get sort of a little bit 2 for 1 with those. So that's those two at the ready. And then the last one that I'm going to show you is the quick dry. And again, these are fabulous if you're stamping. So stamping sentiments out, I tend to reach for my quick dry. And then the other thing, if you have any layering stamps where you stamp the, you know, the background layer first and then you build up on it, these are great because they really do. And I'm going to show you now what I mean by quick dry. They really do dry fast. So I've just got some stamps already mounted onto my acrylic block for this one. I'm going to bring in some more, and all of these I've done on the multi-purpose card. You can use your watercolour card if you wish. You'll get a slightly different finish with the watercolour card being pitted. I prefer that smooth surface. And what we're going to do is we're just going to take, I'm going to put this underneath because it's a nice clean mat. I don't want to sort of get ink all over it. So we pop that underneath. And I'm going to take I've got all 3 shades of the turquoise there. So we've got the Oasis, Parakeet and Lagoon. I'm going to start with the mid one. And on here it just says Shine Bright. So from that same stamp set, I just grabbed one out of my, my sentiment box that I have at the side of my desk. And then I'm going to start off here in the middle and just stamp that one about the centre of the card. And when I say quick dry, this still amazes me to this day as to how this works. Stamp your image out, and the minute I move it, I'm going to rub it. And there is absolutely no smudging whatsoever.
So cool.
So again, we'll do the same again, and I'm just going to sort of bring this one in the same colour for the time being. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to come a little bit further across and bring it sort of slightly further over, like so. That's where I've put the piece of paper down so that I don't stamp onto the mat. And again, you know, as soon as you move it, this is dry to work on with the next colour.
So
and
clever.
I'm just going to take, just get rid of that excess darker colour off there. And I'm going to go to the lighter one. So we're going to create sort of like an ombre effect with this. So again, I'm going to come right off the edge this time with the pale one, which is the Oasis. And then lower down, we're going to come in with that deep one, which this is gorgeous, Lagoon. So these are all 3 quick dry. And I'm going to come even further across with this one. And then we're going to go, we just need the beginning bit to fill in here. And these are just quick examples to show you, know, there's lots of different things that you can be stamping. But if I don't want to heat emboss my sentiments, this is the ink that I tend to reach for to actually stamp out my sentiments, because you know that you can then sort of work with it straight away and not worrying about smudging it.
Yeah.
So again, just finish that off there. And the whole thing now is literally good to go. I've no idea what magic's involved. I wish I did. Very, very clever. So
It is clever to think that's literally split second. And it's
literally,
dry.
the time it takes for you to move whatever you're using, it's just absolutely dry. And again, you know, just adding to this, you can see there I've done pretty much the same thing. Couple of little stars, bit of doodling, and then I just splattered a little bit of the ink, just literally popped a bit on the mat, picked it up with the paintbrush and just splattered a little bit. But you can see how you can sort of go from here into, you know, the beginnings of a card or a project or whatever it is. It actually reminds me the way this is done actually of it. You could turn it over and write on the back. It could be a little postcard that you could drop to somebody in the post, something like that. So yeah, 3 different inks. So we started off with the water reactive, we used the opaque pigment and then the quick dry that are all part of that same family, but all have a different sort of purpose for use.
Amazing.
Okay.
That's absolutely incredible, Jan. Yeah, everyone is loving that. Anne is saying that she's really looking forward to a Jan-packed show. Yes, absolutely, as we all are. Brenda is saying about the Say It With a Style. She says thanks for reminding her that she's got some more tags and sentiments to do. Jamie is saying this is a really good idea I could do with my stuff. TJ is saying that I love that Jan is here. Rosalind's saying now that I have all these inks, it's just easier to use embossing powder and easier to find because it's less expensive than buying all the coloured embossing powders. Absolutely, yes. Mary is saying besides being an excellent instructor, Jan, your voice is so calming. Philip is saying if the card warps, would heating on the other side flatten it?
It does a little bit, yeah. It does a little bit, yeah. If you turn it over and heat it the other way, it does help to sort of flatten it out a little bit, yeah.
Ah, brilliant. And Linda is just saying that she loves her quick drying ink pads. Absolutely. Now, you've got plenty of colours in this collection. It's an amazing showstopper. So if we run through quickly our water reactive, we've got our fuchsia in that one. We've then got the plum jam. We've got ocean blue. We've got our midnight. There is the Chinese red. These are all lovely colours in here. You've got your Bordeaux, your straw bow, your grasshopper. They're the 2 that Jan was using in that first demo. We've then got our crushed velvet and our smoked pearl in that one. So that's with your water reactive ink pads. We've then got your pink tulip, your baby blue, your oasis, then your lagoon, which is one of my absolute favourites. I love that one. We've got our pine tree in there, our lemon tonic, and our honey pot, which is incredible. Oh, the lid's come off on that one. Let me just make sure I've got that on. Then we've got our orange, pop them back up, our crushed velvet, and you've got your twilight grey in there. I love all these colours, how they've been put together. I think you've got a really good mixture. And the last one we've got on that one is our pink tulip, our fuchsia, and our plum jam. So you're getting all the pinks in that beautiful pigment ink pad. Then you're getting your straw bow, your lemon tonic, and your honey pot, so all your yellows in the pigment ones. And then you've got your oasis, your parakeet, your crushed velvet, and your grasshopper. And then the last one in that collection that you're getting, that's a lot of ink pads. You're getting your water, this one is your watermark, so it's your translucent clear ink pad, which like Jan said is nice to prep your inks first with and stamp down and takes a bit more colour. 31 ink pads in total, has a huge incredible save in there. You're saving £65.69 today, which is incredible. So I hope you're enjoying everything. Now we've got Jan in the building. Remember, we are fully social, so get your messages in. If there's anything you want to ask, we can put the question to Jan and hopefully she can answer it for you. But I do have an amazing deal for you next. So this one is our embossing mystery bag. Now, you could get everything that's in this bag, or you might get a variety of different things, but it will be like for like. This is incredible. This is our stamping mystery bag, £30 or $30, which is insane for what you're getting in here. So you're getting that vintage butterfly stamp set. You're getting 16 butterfly stamps in there, which is amazing. You're also getting your good say that again. Good things take time, so that inspirational quote sentiment stamp. You're also getting, oh, I love this one, the flamingos. This was our quirky sentiments, animals with attitude stamps. That's an amazing one to have in there. You're getting 9 pieces in there with those sentiments and all those flamingos. We've then got an amazing stamp. Now this one was our script stamps, where you've got that big hello through it, and then you can stamp the next one. You don't have to have it going through there, you can have it anywhere on your card, but that's a great stamp to have. You've then got that beautiful cat. I love this, is a cat with attitude. So amazing, such a lovely one to colour in, really nice one to be creative with your colouring and practice that fur technique. We've got the ready for the ball, so one of the stamps from our amazing masquerade collection. We're still going, another one from our masquerade collection, which is the Shall We Dance, which is a gorgeous one. You could be using that for all sorts. This is amazing. I'm still going, I've still got lots in here. This is our Bell Countryside Country Home, another beautiful stamp there. What about some vintage stamps from Vintage Diary? This is a great one. Let me just, it's Perfectly Parisian. Such lovely stamps in that one. You've got that bird cage, you've got all those extras. Still going, we've then got our Enchanted Dreams whimsical textures. I know that's one of your favourites, Jan, because the textures in the background are amazing.
Yeah.
So good. And then we've got a special gift you never knew you wanted, which is one of our stamp sets there. All those stamp sets for £30 or $40, saving over, wow, 55%. That's amazing. Wow, grab those. So if you want to do some stamping today and you've gone for those ink pads, this is the bundle for you. So it's our embossing folder. That's not embossing folder, they're stamps. These are stamps. I think we've got the wrong one up. I think they're both the same price. So sorry, Jamie, if that was me. I'm showing stamps and not embossing folders. There we go. We got the right one. That's our stamping mystery bag. So if you've gone for those ink pads, grab that because it's an absolute deal on that one, saving £33.89. So absolutely incredible. Right. So Christine has put she's got a question. She's saying, now that we are in the USA, now that the USA are on daylight saving time, we join you an hour later for all shows. If I recall, do we do this for a week until the UK switches over? Is that correct? I'm not really sure. I'm not sure when our so US time change.
It'll be 2, yeah.
Yeah, it's 25th of March, apparently, our time.
Yeah, our clocks will go forward.
Right.
Yeah, so not this, so not next Sunday,
week. Yes,
the week after.
Yeah. So yeah, two more weeks today. So yeah, absolutely amazing. There we go. So then we've got. So what else have you got to show us next, then, Jan?
Right. So I've actually got one of the embossing folders this time. I will come back to the stamps. I've got 2 demos with embossing folders from the goodie bag that we've got, and I've got 2 demos from the stamping goodie bag, just to show you some ideas, if you're going for that today, of things that you can do with the products in there. So in the embossing goodie bag, I love this one, absolutely love. This is from our Country Lane collection, and it's an absolutely gorgeous all-round. I think you could make this tree into pretty much any kind of season. And again, I'm just going to give you some ideas as to what we can do with it. So it's a 5 by 7, which tends to be the more traditional size for an embossing folder, and it's a 3D folder, so you've got that nice thick sculpting in there. So just before I pass that through the machine, I'm going to add a little bit of ink, and I've got my opaque pigment inks again. So I was just having a look here at what we'd got in the bundle again. I've tried to stay with ones that are in your bundle. I'm going to use a little bit of the smoke pearl to start with as a background, and then I've picked out a bluey colour for the sky, a green one for the grass, and some brown for the tree trunk. So I've just gone with colours that make sense to me for those sort of earthy tones. So to start off with, before I put it through the embossing folder, I'm going to use the smoked pearl, and again, just take one of my applicators. Be a little bit more gentle, whereas with the water reactive you saw me proper loading up the applicator. The opaque ones have a sponge surface. If you actually watch from the side here, you can see that they do depress quite a long way there. So don't be quite as vigorous with it. I tend to sort of dab into it rather than that round and round like I did on the water reactive. And then what I want to do, I always take off the excess so that I'm not going to get a big round splodge here on the bottom. And I'm just going to bring up from the bottom here a little bit of something on there, but we'll cover that up. So right from the bottom, I'm just going to bring up a little bit of sort of that smoky, I love this colour. It's what I call the brown greys.
Yes.
The blue greys, which are much more sort of what you tend to think of as grey. And then this one's part of that brown grey family. So again, I just want to add, I'm not going to cover the whole thing, but just sort of where I know the tree part's going to emboss. And then a little bit at the bottom here is all I want to do with that particular one. So again, I'm just going to get rid of that spare ink so that we don't end up covered in it. Probably a bit too much out there. And then I'm going to pass that through that lovely folder. So again, just making sure, if you're new to embossing, that you've got that raised side facing up. And then I'm going to put the coloured side of my card facing up as well. I want that embossing to push up through here, and then it gets trapped in this side, which is recessed, and then you're going to get that lovely 3D embossing. So I usually cut my card just a fraction smaller, so it'll be 6 3/4 by 4 3/4. Trap it inside there, and you can just see where that ink is now, that it's just behind where the bulk of the detail is. And then for a 3D folder, we just need to be mindful of those plates. If you're using our Geminis, I just want you to use one of your clear plates, a magnetic shim, just to literally build up the depth, and then the plastic shim as your top. So we're omitting that second clear plate. Because the folder's thicker, this sandwich needs to be thinner. And then I'm literally just going to pass that through the Gemini and get that embossing done. And then we're going to add some more colour to it. And instead of using the ink applicators this time, I've brought you've seen me use my brushes before to apply inks. It's just a slightly lighter way of applying the ink to the cardstock. Now, this may not show up at the best yet. I'll just give it, oh, you can see there, look, absolutely gorgeous. So we've added the embossing to it. If I flip it over, sometimes you can see the deboss side even better. Absolutely gorgeous. And as I say, you know, it could be a retirement card. It could be something new with that tree sort of all in sort of bloom here with the leaves and everything. Just simply a birthday. So what I'm going to do now then is I'm going to bring in my other colours, but I'm going to use my brushes this time instead. Now, these are not a Crafter's Companion product, but they are readily available on the internet. If you just type in ink brushes, there's lots of different ones out there. So again, I'm just going to pick up the colour on the edge of the brush. I always sort of test it to make sure I haven't got a big clump of it that's going to go on here. And then you're doing like a dusting motion with it rather than the sponge applicator. So what it does is it captures that raised embossing, and it's also adding a little bit of colour into your design as well. So just that once in the ink was more than enough for what I actually want to use here. And I'm not worried if it goes over areas that are going to be a different colour. We can add that later. So I've got my turquoise colour in there. And then on the other end, we've got the green. I have one of these sort of for each colour family. So again, a little bit of the green. This is the grasshopper. And I'm going to do the same again, just gently to bring some of those leaves out. We're going to add some gilding wax to these. So I'm not too worried if it's not perfect. I like that turquoise around the edge of it. It just gives it a little bit of extra depth.
Jan, for anyone that doesn't have these brushes, can we use our ink applicators? Would they do
You can, you just need very, very light pressure.
Right,
Obviously,
okay.
you're feeling for the embossed area rather than trying to get the ink onto the back of the card, which is why I prefer to do the brushes, just because they're not quite as... I'm very heavy-handed, so obviously putting it down here was fine, but then transferring it onto this lighter area, I tend to get a bit too much ink on. So again, we're going to go for the brown, and I just want to bring this sort of up where the tree trunks are to add in. And it's all very subtle, this. I don't want definite colours.
Yep.
You can just see, bring that up into the branches. And then just to finish that off, I've actually got some of our gilding wax as well. So this one's the King Gold, but you can use any of the colours. And you just need a little tiny bit, Less is more with this technique. And then just round where all the leaves are on the tree here, I'm just going to add, and all it does is it adds a little bit more definition, but you also get that little bit of shimmer when it's finished. I'll tilt it into the light.
I love this technique.
Just rubbing it over, you can feel exactly where the raised elements are of the folder. So just catching it, and again, there's no right or wrong. You know, if you prefer a more solid colour, just apply another layer. But yeah, I love my gilding waxes. And then just leave it a second or two. And then I'm just going to take my cloth. And you want something smooth. So I tend not to do this with kitchen paper because it tends to wrinkle all the paper up. But just something smooth. Give it a good sort of buff. And what it'll do is just bring the sheen up on the gilding wax that little bit. All right, so it's only very, very subtle. And if I just sort of tilt this now, you can see where you've got that lovely sort of shimmer going on over the top of the ink. So you've got the inks in the background and then that shimmer over the top. So let's just get rid of the extra ink there. My beloved cloth just literally does everything. Get rid of the gilding wax as well. And we're pretty much along the lines of the one that I did at home. All I've done is matte it onto some black cardstock, and you can see what a difference that makes. Well, you know, when you've done anything that involves colour, just putting that black behind it, you can see it just draws your eye in and just frames everything really nicely. And then I've kept the cards very, very simple for this, just so that you can see some of them in, you know, a finished project as to what, because it's okay keep showing your techniques, but then it's like, well, what do you do with them when you've done them all? So I chose some of our metallic Centura Pearl because it just brought out that gilding wax really nicely. And I'm going to use that as my background layer, like so. Then you can actually pop this one up on foam if you wish. I'm just going to leave it on the flat for now. And then I was like, right, what can I do now to sort of decorate this? You know, it's a little forest scene. So I had a look through my stash to see what I'd got. And it is an older stamp set. It's not one that's in the goodie bag, but a lot of you I know will have had this collection. And we did a range of Lee Holland stamps a while ago. And they've got the most gorgeous little critters in there. So I've just stamped out a couple and I just thought they can be playing in the forest here, look, just to pop. So I've just coloured them with my pens, cut them out, and then I've got a nice little sentiment again just to go on here. So I'm just going to flick over to my tacky glue to pop these on. And just, you know, that when you've got the embossing folders, you don't need to do a lot more to actually make a card. I always said, you know, a sentiment, and you're pretty much good to go. But I do like these little forest animals here. I just thought they look quite cute playing in the forest under the tree there. But anything you've got, anything in your stash, you know, that you think will work with it. He's going to go there as if he's climbing on the edge of the tree. And then our producer Jamie's just decided that it would make a good card for a newborn that's born during the autumn. I think that's a great idea.
It is beautiful.
It is. So that one's just going to pop on there. And you know me with my gems. No card's finished without a gem on it. So let's move all this out of the way. And you can just see there how we've gone from that sort of plain embossing folder, which we had, well, I'm saying plain, it's far from plain. All right, if I pop it on there, you'll be able to see a little bit better, to where we've got there. And then if I turn you that one round, our judge can have a look on the close-up, but how to actually pop it into a project for you there.
Absolutely beautiful. I love that. Now, if you want to get that embossing folder that Jan's just used, this is the bag you want to go for. Now, even though it's a mystery bag, most of these things you will find that you'll get when you get home. Might be a few variations of them, but that Country Lane embossing folder that Jan has just used is in that bag. It's absolutely stunning. That 3D folder is incredible. Now, what about having something a little bit different, where you've got this beautiful one, which is your vibrant roses? is. It's a cut and emboss folder, so absolutely lovely. If you are someone that's new to embossing, this bag is incredible value. Such lovely designs that you're getting in there that are all so lovely. We've got that vintage butterfly. Look at that one, that's in here as well. What an absolute steal of a bag this one is. £30 or $30. Love this one. This is one of Sarah's absolute favourite embossing folders. She loves that one. It is so pretty. That's from the Say It With Flowers that only launched with our birthday last year. This one is Leanne's favourite embossing folder, the Garden Gnome. She absolutely loves that one because of the stencils that you get in there as well. Wow, I can't believe we've got one of our textured embossing folders in there, the Leopard print, only launching this year. That's amazing. And then one more we've got in there, which is our Flourishing Flowers, our cut and emboss slimline one. That's incredible. I cannot believe that you are getting all of those in that embossing bag, saving over 50% on that for your savings bag. So that's incredible. And I think just to be able to replicate what Jan has been doing will be absolutely amazing. So if you love your embossing folder, pop them in your basket. Now we're going to give you a chance to check out those baskets. So take a look at our Club Inspire.
Welcome to Club Inspire, the crafters companion community where you can feed your crafty obsession. Join our fantastic loyalty club today and receive 20% off your first order. We'll also give you 250 points to help get you started. Other benefits of joining Club Inspire include exclusive special offers and discounts for Club Inspire members only, exclusive sneak peek previews of brand new product launches, and of course the Club Inspire community group on Facebook, where you can access exclusive content such as downloads, offers and inspiration, and of course you can chat and share your makes with other members. You'll receive 1 point for every £1, dollar or euro you spend, and the more points you receive, the more benefits you'll unlock. So what are you waiting for? Sign up, join the club and start rewarding yourself today.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. So, join our family of craft experts with live tutorials and demonstrations every day. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products here on Crafters TV. Get creative and craft along with our amazing deals. Your next craft project is only a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week or watch on catch up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook or our YouTube channel. You can chat to us, craft along and meet new friends in our online crafting community.
You entertain us, you give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
You're all out time with each other! You're not through to boot camp, get off!
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. So, stop what you're doing and enjoy the fun here on Crafters TV.
We get to know people from places and walks of life that we wouldn't come across in our everyday life if it wasn't for Crafters TV and doing what we do.
I got so many lovely comments from people when I started doing the presenting, and it was just really such a lovely feeling. And it's nice that people keep messaging in. We see the same people. We know you can build up that kind of relationship with those people. So it's just the fact that people like what we do and they're pleased. And I do love it when people send us photographs of the items that they've made.
We talk about customers, but really they go in as a customer, come out as a friend. The support that I get is amazing. The messages I get are amazing.
Me personally, it is personal interaction. I've never had the best of health. I've always been open about that with our viewers at Crafters TV. So many people are in the same situation as me health-wise. Other people have got a completely different health issues. They understand and they relate to what I'm going through, what others are going through. So whether we interact on a crafting basis or whether we interact on a health basis, a personal basis, we're all there to support one another. It is incredible.
The reaction of viewers when they come to meet us is worth all of the early mornings when we have to get up for our early morning shows.
Some of the customers come on as craft ambassadors and things like that, craft along with us, and being able to actually chat with them on air. Love it. I really love that connection with them.
We've had lots of shows where we've done like craft alongs, especially where we've had viewers craft along with us. We had a particular viewer, Joy, who joined us once before, and she literally made me cry on air, and Joe, because the things she said about us, it really was quite humbling that there are people out there that watch us and invite us into their living rooms and really treat us like family. Good morning, everyone. You're joining us for Crafters TV, and we're in the middle. Well, in fact, good job I said good morning, because it's only a few more minutes till we reach that afternoon point, and an hour left of the show. But you're all loving it because we've got Jan in the building, and she is doing a masterclass on all things stamping. So it's just been incredible because it's all about inks, all about stamping, it's all about embossing folders. We've got lots of goodies for you. So the next thing I want to show you is if you are new to stamping, or maybe you're old at stamping, you've been stamping for a long while, you might have some of our rocker blocks. What about switching it up a little bit and trying out one of our stamping platforms, because we've got a 6x6 stamping platform on the show today, which is incredible value. You're getting 10% off, 20% on this, over 20% in fact, £15.90, which is amazing. You're not just getting your stamping platform, you're getting that stamping mat as well. I love this because the density of this is just perfect for stamping your stamps into. And like Jan was using on that first demo that we were doing, put some kitchen towel underneath and then you'll never mark your mat. Our mats in the studio are filthy because they've got loads of inks on them. But this is a great one to go for. And look at that platinum price, £12.72 or $15.92. So that is incredible offer. Now, if you want some stamps to go with this, so whether you are new or whether you're advanced crafter and you've got some different pieces in your stash, this is a great bag to go for because there is so many things in there. Just this one, for instance, you're getting 16 different butterflies to stamp out. Think about creating those backgrounds, embellishments, anything you want to put them onto. They're going to be amazing. If you stamp them with our quick drying ink pads, think of all those different coloured butterflies that you're going to have in your collection. Next, we've got the good things take time. Yes, and I think that's a really great sentiment. It's very encouraging, and it just means, you know, we want to aim high, just take your time and you will get there in the end. I love that one. And then we've got our I'll Stand By You. I'll stand by you. All singing in my ear, knew they'd get that one. Our flamingos there, so amazing, absolutely beautiful one. Then we've got Hello From Me To You, another great stamp. It's a really nice big stamp with the sentiment that goes through there as well. So incredible. And then we've got a little surprise with that cute little cat that always looks to me like he's up to no good. He's quite mischievous and I love that. But if you want to practice your colouring in or for your fur, that's a great one to go for. Then our masquerade ball, Ready for the Ball. A really good one, this one, because it's got all those different embellishments that you can be stamping if you like that masquerade feel. Another one is Shall We Dance? Shall we dance? Do, do, do. Is that the one? Is that the song that I'm thinking of? What's that off? I want to say My Fair Lady. So quite an old film. Let me know if you know that song. Yes. Shall we dance? Do, 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 do. Wait. I can't remember that. No, but you're too young, George. George is too young for that one. Country Home. So we've got that one in there as well, which is a lovely one. This is a great one to have. Lots of embellishments on there from our vintage diary or Sarah's vintage diary. Absolutely stunning. We've then got this one, which is the whimsical textures. Another really good one if you are doing those sort of textures in the background. A great one for picking up that ink like Jan showed us with the pigment ink earlier on. And then our last one is a special gift you never knew that you wanted. I love that. So a little bit of a quirky stamp going on there. So you're getting all of those, which is amazing. A huge amount of stamps. In fact, how many have we got in here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. You're getting 11 stamp packs in there for £30 or $40. Normally £63. Absolutely incredible value. That's a really good one. We know how you love a mystery bag, a goodie bag, and you're saving such a lot of money there. Now, talking about stamping, what about some ink pads? Now, we've shown you our showstopper deal, so you can go for the whole shop showstopper, where you're getting all these 3 towers. It means you're getting your water reactive, you're getting your quick drying, and you're getting your pigment ink pads, and you are getting your translucent ink, which is a clear sticky ink for all your, if you've got in normal embossing powders or your coloured embossing powders, that's going to work really well for that. So you can get those all together for £120 or $180. Now, if you wanted to, and you just wanted to go for this bundle, which is your pigment ink pads, you're getting all these amazing colours for £40. You're still getting a 30% saving on these, but if you go for the show bundle, you get a 35% saving. So just choose which ones you want to go for, but you're getting all these amazing, spectacular colours. Now, next one we want to show you is our quick drying. Again, you can take these as they are, and you will get these for £40 or $60. You're still saving just under £20 on there, so absolutely amazing. These are your quick drying that are going to dry literally at the speed of light, I would say. Our next ones are our water reactive, probably our most popular ink pads, because they are the ones that you can do lots of those water reactive ink techniques with, which are incredible, and it's you just choose which ones you want to go for. Again, you're getting 10 ink pads in these for £40 or $60, which is an incredible saving, and you're saving £19.90 for all those colours. So you can choose which ones to go for, your water reactive, your pigment, or your quick drying, or go for that show bundle with the water reactive, the translucent water reactive, and you will find, it's not water reactive, translucent ink pad, and you will find that you'll save 35% on the whole bundle. Right, so let's have a look, see who's in with us this morning. Betty is saying that that's lovely, Jan, from your last make. Lynette is saying that it looks beautiful, Jan. She loves the colours you've used. Michael is saying it's very storybook looking card, your last card. Yeah, he absolutely loves it, Jan. Teresa's saying awesome embossing bag, absolutely. Gareth's saying, I hope you're having a good morning, Deb and Jan. Yes, we absolutely are. Are you having a good morning, Jan?
I am. Yes. I always am when I'm stood here.
Absolutely.
I'm in my element.
A very good morning. Samantha has just said it's The King and I, that song.
Ah, of course. Yes, I can picture it now as soon as you said that. Yul Brynner, yeah.
Oh, it was rather nice.
It was a bit dishy, wasn't he? Yes.
He was, yes. Love a bit of Yul Brynner. Right, I haven't got no Yul Brenners for you, or any more songs, I'm afraid, but I do have the amazing embossing bag, which is incredible. Oh, are we recapping that, Jamie? Is that what you just said? What was we doing next? Oh, we're not. We're going over to Jan. So we're going to go straight over to some stamping techniques, Jan.
Right. Well, when I saw this one, I couldn't resist, because I just think that mystery bag with the stamps in is worth it just for this stamp alone, honestly.
Yes,
the butterflies on here, 16 different butterflies that you can either stamp as a background or stamp, if you like fussy cutting them, you can cut round them. And you've got, you know, sort of like lots of different ways. You can sit and colour them individually if you like to stamp and colour with your alcohol inks. You could do one of those background techniques that I've just shown you with the ombre effect, stamp over the top of it and then cut your butterflies out so that you've got like a colour family. You could colour them in with your crayons, your pencil crayons, that kind of thing. So many different ways. So I'm going to do a little bit of inking again. All the demos that I've done today incorporate the inks with them, but just look, I just think this is absolutely stunning. It's one of my favourite stamp sets, I must admit. So I'm going to come back to that in a second. I just want to apply a little bit of ink to my piece of card before I start with the stamping. I've gone back to the water reactive inks for this one, but you could easily use the pigment inks as well. And I've got the smoked pearl and crushed velvet. I quite like these neutral colours, I must admit. So this time, again, I've got my sponge applicators, and because we're back to that water reactive one with the felt ink pad, I tend to sort of take it straight from the top of the pad. And then what I'm going to do is I want to come from the bottom of my card, so I'm just stamping off the excess ink so that I don't get too much. And again, I want to sort of come from the bottom here and come sort of part way up. And again, I'm not too worried about what it looks like. Yes, there are some circles in it, but when they're finished blending it out and when we've done the stamping over the top, it will be fine. But I want to leave some white space on this one. So that's the grey. And then I'm going to swap out and I'm going to go to that lovely crushed velvet. This is the most amazing purple ever. So again, take off the excess, and I'm going to come this time, I want to go to sort of meet it in the middle and take it up to that top corner. As I say, I'm not too worried about the markings in it because we're going to stamp and do some other things over the top of it. But I wanted to leave that sort of element of white in the middle there. Just bring that a little bit lower down. Okay, so that's the main part of the inking done. And then I'm just going to take my cloth here. Nothing on it, no water on it or anything. I just want to go over that edge because I'm not using another colour against it. I just want to soften that outside edge a little bit, and I'm just going to do that with the dry cloth. If you add some water to it, it's going to make a watermark in your ink. So just to soften it so that it's not quite as vivid there, and then we'll get rid of the excess. In fact, no, I'll leave that there because I'm going to use that bit in a second to do some colouring with. So I'll just clean that side. And then what I'm going to do is actually stamp over the top of this. If I bring my stamping platform back in there, and I'm going to secure it down this right hand side because we're going to down the left hand side, so we're going to stamp down the right hand side. So I take my butterflies and I'm going to position these as if we want a cascade of them going up this side over the ink. So I'm going to try and grab the same ones that I used in my demo at home. That one was the next one, and then again just tilt them on here. Then we've got that one. Then we've got that one. Then we've got a little one, which I think was that one. So I'm just going to move them down a little bit. I want these as if they're sort of like fluttering down the side of the card. We stamp these all at one go. That one's going to go at the top. And then I had a couple of little tiny ones. I don't think it matters which the tiny ones are. One just to go here like so. So this is the beauty of having this system, because I can now pick all of those up together. Now I'm working on to some watercolour card. Okay, so just before I actually do the stamping, again we can pop some of those little water splats on here just to add a bit more texture. So just like I did at the top of the show, just a few. And again, it just adds a little bit of interest under the stamping. And then once you're happy with it, just need to grab a piece of kitchen paper just to blot that. And then it's not wet enough that it's going to be a problem to stamp over the top. So again, just absorb the water out of it. And you can see there we've got that lovely sort of texture going on. Now then, the only thing that I would say you need to be careful of with this is, because what we're going to do is we're going to stamp the butterflies, and then I'm going to go back to my paintbrush and inks to colour the butterflies in. So I want an ink pad now to do my line art that isn't going to move. So I'm going to go to my Finesse range, which have been made for stamping outlines, and I'm going to go to the waterproof dye ink. I know that I can use my watercolours and water with this and it won't smudge the line art on the stamps here. So just be careful. If you use the opposite one, and use the alcohol one by mistake, once you start applying water, it will start and disturb the line art of the stamp. So just be aware of what you want to do with the stamps. If you're using colouring pencils, you don't have to worry about it because you can use any ink pad. And if you want to heat emboss your outline and set the outline, you can use any. But for this, I just want that dark outline. So a little bit of pressure on all of those. Now, if you're interested in that 6x6 platform today, it's a wee bit smaller than my magnetic one, but you don't have to do all the butterflies in one go. You know, you could just do this section and stamp that out and then add the others in afterwards. So, you know, don't think that you need to have that bigger surface. So a little bit of pressure, make sure we've got a nice print from all of those. And we've got those cascading up the side. I've got a little bit missing there, which means that either my ink is still on there or I didn't ink it up properly in the first place. He's got his antennae missing, and that's why I like to use this system, because I can now pop in there and we can rectify. So I'll clean that one up in a second. Take this off here now. I'm just going to get rid of that little bit off there. And then what I want to do now is come in and I'm going to use the rest of what's left here. I've still got a bit of water from where I sprayed it. I'm going to take my little paintbrush and I'm going to take some of that ink. It's exactly the same as what we've just done the background with, but I actually wanted to go in here and just add a bit more definition. Now you can take as much time as you want with this. I just went for the colour on colour, and it's really quick. You don't have to have any kind of painting skill for this. Literally just taking it. So where I've got the purple underneath, I'm just enhancing that with the purple ink. So really, really quickly, as I say, I'm not really taking much care. Just get it in there. This would look nice as well if you've got your crystal clear sparkle pen. I sometimes use that in lieu of a paintbrush because then you're going to get a little bit of extra sparkle on the butterflies. And then I've got a little bit of the purple in this one, so I'm going to bring a bit of purple down at the top here. But then I'm going to swap to that smoked pearl and do the bottom section in that tone on tone again. So this one, and they're great, you know, for that watercolouring effect because they're water reactive. They just play really nicely with the water. You can see there just adding that little bit. And as I say, I'm not being particularly careful either. It's just getting that colour down there. I am not an artist by any means. I can stamp and I can colour, but I don't profess to actually be an artist. So literally, I'm just whacking that colour in there, using the stamp as a guideline. And because we chose that waterproof ink, you can see that none of that line art is moving now. I'm just going straight over the top of it. So on this occasion, if I'd have used, for example, the quick dry inks, which would have been great for stamping the outline, but the outline would start moving. Because the quick dry are water-based inks, the minute I went near it with my paintbrush and some extra moisture, it's going to start moving that line art. So just be aware of that if you're wanting to do a technique like this where you're going to add something that's got moisture in it. So again, you can see there, and then I'm just going to go back, bring the purple one. And again, I've gone very quickly. You've got much more time to spend at home here. Okay, and then again, you know, if you want to add the extra splats with the colour, you can do. I'm actually going to, I like that white space because the one that I did at home, I've actually stamped my sentiment into that white space. So let's just have a little clean up and I'll show you what I did. And again, just mounting it onto the black brings it all together, I think. So we'll move all that out of the way. You can see the one that I've done there, and then this is where I took it to at home. So I've got virtually the same idea going on. I've just popped a sentiment in there out of the ones that I have. I have a set of sentiments out on my desk that are sort of go-to ones. And then I've just added some little enamel dots in the colours that I was working in. But just again, mounting it on that black just sort of takes it to that next level, I think. You know, yes, you've got a nice stamped piece here, but by framing it on the black just makes all the difference. And then again, just to make it into a really, really quick card, I have literally just got a card blank for this one. Just going to use my tape pen on the back of here. And I've just made a nice tall slimline card. I've popped a little bit on the inside with some ink round it just to link the inside to the outside, and then this one's going to go on the front, and it's as simple as that. So this is a nice flat design if you're posting, mailing out a card to anyone. You don't have to worry about any depth in there. So again, if we turn you that one round to have a look now, really nice and simple, but showcasing those butterflies. What you could do, actually, just looking at it now, is you could stamp one of those again and fussy cut it, and maybe just have one of them, maybe this one or the middle one, as like a 3D element. You could like decoupage it over the top, would look nice, but I purposely kept it flat because I think if you are mailing something out these days, they are better. They seem to travel better when they're flat than if you've got a lot of dimension on them.
Absolutely. That is stunning, absolutely stunning. I'm with you, Jen. I think mounting it onto black cardstock
just makes such a difference.
A real difference, and it's absolutely beautiful. And obviously we don't take nothing away from Jan, but a lovely simple design. Those butterflies come in that goodie bag as well. Such a great stamp set to have. Now, if you do want to go for that showstopper deal and you want all those ink pads, you can go for every single one of these, which is amazing. So you're getting the 31 ink pads in total, including the sticky ink, which is our translucent pad, but you're also getting your 10 of your water reactive, 10 of your pigment, and 10 of your quick drying ink pads as well. They do come individually where you will save 30%, but you're saving 35% in that full bundle, which is incredible value. So if ever there was a time to treat yourself to some ink pads, then do so, absolutely. But if you want to go for those smaller bundles, that is also available. Now, something else that we do have is the incredible daily deal. It is incredible. We all love this one. When it came out, it was one of those sort of things that was invented and you think, how have we not done this before? You get the beautiful binder which comes with all your stamps. You also get your Say It With Style box which comes with all your what I would say your usable elements there, and we've got so much in this collection. So the first thing you're going to see in the box when you open it is the dies. And now these dies will go over your stamp set, but what you've also got with these dies is you've got a really comprehensive set of tags and tickets and sort of elements that you can use to shadow behind, use all your other stamp sets that you've got in your collection, whatever sentiments you've got in there. You've got lots in here on these ones which have got all your little holders at the side for all your ribbon, your twine, everything to put through them, so you can put them on as your tags, slider elements. So really amazing deal there with the dies, but you're also getting all these different stamp sets as well. They come in so many different varieties. You've got birthdays in there, you've got weddings, you've got anniversaries, you've got for your dad, your mum, your sister, your brother, everything you can possibly want to celebrate, you've got a stamp set for them. You've also got your holidays, so your Christmas holidays in there as well. So many different ones. Congratulations, your generic happy birthday ones, you've got thank you, you've got with loved ones, new baby. Honestly, there is just so much. Your stamp sets are coming to you like this, so they will come on this carrier sheet. They'll come with your hole punch at the bottom here, which will go into your binder. They're absolutely incredible. And then if you want to just use them on all different mediums to stamp onto, you can do that as well. So we've got black card here, we've got your craft card, different coloured cardstocks, plus your white as well. Heat embossing with the pigment ink pads is going to look incredible, but you can see here all those sorts of tags and tickets and labels that you can be putting onto your creations, and there's something for absolutely everybody. You're saving over 50% today for £100 or $130, which is absolutely incredible. Right, we're going to have a little break now, allow you to check out your baskets and let you have a little watch of this.
Welcome to Crafters TV. With more than 35 hours of live shows each week, it's your home for all things craft. We shine the spotlight on new and innovative crafting products with live tutorials and demonstrations. Join our family of craft experts where fun happens every day.
The one that was really funny, Ben. You did.
It was better than your I'm a gnome and I live in a caravan.
I am a gnome and I live in a caravan.
Can we clip that? We'll do it. Everybody's gone surfing, surfing USA.
Get creative and craft along. With our amazing deals, your next craft project is just a click away. Tune in live 7 days a week, or you can watch us on Catch Up at crafterscompanion.com, Facebook, or our YouTube channels. You can chat to us, craft along, and meet new friends by joining our online crafting community.
You entertain us. You give us a community to talk, in the chat. That wouldn't happen without you guys. It's like Crafters Companion is magical. There's magic here.
There's a show for every type of crafter, from first-time dabblers to full-time makers. Crafters TV, create every day.
Who is one of my unsung heroes at Crafters TV? It has to be our lovely John. Not only does he corral our coordination team together, but he also looks after us experts really well. He comes out to visit the expert house where we need to stay, to fix things that are broken. He looks after us, he looks after everything that we need, and even brings me cups of tea during the show.
Yeah, I should have said John in there too, shouldn't I? But we all know John's an unsung hero.
What makes Crafters TV so special is you guys.
It's really special because the experts are really experts. They're really skilled at what they do, and they want to make sure that the audience also improves on their skills.
Crafters TV is so special because you've got together a really sort of key group of people and people that are very passionate about the products.
Crafters TV is so special because it's a unique community that we have with each other where we can learn and grow and communicate with each other.
Community, the family spirit, the education, everything to do with craft. We are all like-minded people who share a passion.
I love all the inspiration the demonstrators bring and all the knowledge for us out here.
What makes Crafters TV so special? 100% it's the interaction. No other crafting TV channel or show has the same interaction.
I love the community, I love chatting live, I think that's the best part. And it's gone beyond crafting because we've become friends.
It feels to me to be a really, really close relationship with our customers and viewers.
You guys make us feel like we're part of your family. I've never been on the show before, but one of my friends who I did meet from CCTV encouraged me, and I was on the craft along.
A massive team of people, and I think they've all got their role to play, and it just brings everything together. It allows us to do our job and just love it.
The people, obviously. The people not just here at Crafters Companion, but the viewers that watch us. I mean, everybody. We have this real magical essence about it.
Bye for now. Bye.
Well, good afternoon and welcome back to Crafters TV. You're joining us for an amazing stamping masterclass, which is all things sort of stamps and ink pads, and we've got lots more to show you. So we're running fast into that second hour. Lots of you are joining us this morning. Gareth is saying that the butterflies, Jan, are absolutely stunning. Jamie is saying that, Jan, you're doing a grand job and nice colouring. Deborah is saying she's been carried away watching and listening to Jan. Lois is saying, beautiful card, Jan. Those colours are yummy. And Charlotte is saying, I just want to let you know, Jan, that you was right about the tape pen. I've been using it for all week and I've slowed down and made sure I'm flicking it each time.
Fabulous.
She said no jam tape pen as yet, so thank you very much.
Yes,
Jan.
we got a question last week about sticking, the tape sticking halfway through. And I said, I mean, there's been so many people seeing me here where mine's run out when I've been live on air.
Absolutely,
so that we do get to the end of them, you know. But I was just saying last week to just slow down with them, take your time with them and make sure you break that adhesive. And that's really good to know. Thank you.
That's really nice. Yeah, absolutely. And Maeve is saying, I love watching Jan. She is a super teacher and I learn so very much. So thank you, Jan.
Oh, thank you.
Lindsay is saying, you say that you're not an artist, Jan, but wow, what a lovely, beautiful card.
Thank you.
You're all so kind and you are all very right as well. We all feel like that about our Jan when she comes into the building. She is amazing at what she does. Right, now, talking about stamping, I mentioned them earlier. We do something called rocker blocks. They do exactly what they say. They rock and they are a block. And you put your stamps on them. They are incredible. I love these for really quick, easy stamping. So just being able to put your stamp on there and using them to do backgrounds, doing for little embellishments. They're absolutely great. You're getting all of these in the 2 packs. You're saving 50%, which is honestly incredible. $9.99 for all of our rocker blocks. These are all the sizes that we do. They're see-through, so you can see where you're stamping. You can line them up with precision. They're a great one to have, and they're really good once you get that knack of just rocking from heel to toe. So if you want those today, you can go for those. Our rocker block 6-piece collection, $9.99 or $13.99, saving you 50%. $7.99, Jan, if you platinum. $7.99. What great giftables they would be, especially if you were to go for our stamping bag as well. Now, talking about not stamps, we were talking about embossing folders earlier. We do have an amazing mystery bag. Now, we're calling it a mystery bag. You are likely to get quite a few things that are in here. If you don't, you'll get like for like. So you will get, it might be like, so if I show you this, for instance, we've got the cut and emboss folders, slimline. You might get a different variation on that slimline one, but hopefully you'll get what's in the bag. But there is tons in here, and I really mean tons. This one, I cannot believe it's in the bag. It's our textured embossing folders. In fact, Craig only done his demo, his craft along with the textured embossing folders last week.
Really new, aren't they?
Yeah, in fact, he won the demo of the week with his make, so it shows you how new these are, and we've popped one into this mystery bag for you as well. Leanne's absolute favourite, she loves this one, which is our gnomes one. It comes with the 2 different stencils and your embossing folder, and this one I do know is Sarah's favourite one, which is that elegant peony spray. Absolutely gorgeous. It's the Say It With Flowers embossing folder. You're then getting in here your In-Flight, which is that vintage butterfly. One of the favourites on all the team, this one. It's such a beautiful embossing folder. Different techniques you can use your inks with on that one, which is beautiful. Then we've got our exquisite blooms, another gorgeous one, and a really lovely framed one, that one for putting your sentiment in the middle. Inside this bag also we've got our cut and emboss folder, which is our vibrant rose. I love the fact that we've got in here like our elongated embossing folders, our regular 2D, our 3D, but also cut and emboss folders. And then that grand oak, which is the one Jan used in her demo, is in here as well. All of these embossing folders are coming to you for £30 or $40. An incredible saving of £39.92. So grab them while we've got those in stock, because they are absolutely flying out the door. Right now, we're going to head back over to Jan and see what else she's got in store for us.
Right, I'm going to have a look at one of those embossing folders, and this one just jumped out and hit me. I love this leopard print one, but we're not going to go sort of very leopard print in colour. I'm going to show you, you know, that it can just be a texture. So I've just got a little piece of card that we're going to work on. This is going to be part of a bigger design, but I want to actually apply the embossing onto here. But before we do that again, I'm going to bring those inks back in. These are so versatile. To be honest, whenever I'm crafting, whatever project I'm doing, I nearly always reach for the inks, even if it's only to outline the edge of something. Those inks work with pretty much everything you're doing. If you like ink as a medium to work with, they literally work across the board. So I've gone back to the water reactives again. You could do this same technique with the opaque ones. And I just want to add a little bit of colour into the background first before we actually pop it through the embossing folder. So this is the baby blue from the blue collection. And again, I'm just going to do that sort of mop it up technique where we've popped a bit on the mat, spritzed it with some water, and I just want to get some, you know, take away the whiteness basically off the cardstock so that we can then pass it through the embossing folder. So all I'm doing is mopping it up, literally moving it about to where you want it. You could do this if you prefer with your applicator and apply it that way like we have done earlier with some of the designs. But that's literally, I don't need it to be anything special. I just wanted some colour on there. And you could say, well, you could have used a piece of coloured card. I could, but I didn't want to. I like actually applying the inks on them. So I just want to make sure that that's not wet. If it's damp, sometimes the embossing actually works even better. But to actually have it wet, it's just going to sort of like mulch your card. So this is actually the smooth stamping card again. You could do the same technique on the watercolour card. So again, as long as that's not got any sort of real wet areas on, I'm now actually going to pop it inside my folder. Now these particular ones have got the colour on the front. So I know that this is the raised section and this is the recessed section. So I'm going to put my colour facing up again. And I just want to pick up some of that design. Now this one's a 2D folder. So this time, because the folder's thinner, I'm going to bring in both of my clear cutting plates and then pop that through the Gemini. So just pass that one through and that's going to transfer that detail. And then what I'm going to do is bring in the slightly darker blue, which is the next one in the set of blues. This is ocean blue. And this is what you were asking earlier, Debbie, about whether you could use the ink applicator. Yeah. Because all I'm going to do now, again, is just pick up some of that gorgeous blue. Make sure I haven't got too much. Take off that excess. And first of all, I'm going to edge it. So we've got that sort of slightly darker edge. And then when I've used up some of the colour off the applicator, I'm just going to very, very lightly hold it flat and go over the top of the embossing. And what it'll do is just lift that embossing off the page. You can just, it defines it a little bit more. So a little bit like we did with the brushes, if you were watching at the top of the show when we did the tree. But just by using that flat surface of the applicator, not pressing on at all, I've just let it glide over the top. And you can see how it's brought out that lovely embossed detail there. So I'm going to use that now on my card. Again, I'm going to pop your card together. And this one, I was playing with the template library. So what I've done is I've created my card blank. I've started sticking one or two of the pieces on. And I did write down, it was number, if anybody's interested, if you have the template library, it was number 16, which is the trifold shutter card. So I just popped that on there just to remind, because if anybody asks, my memory's not as good as it used to be. So we started out with that flat piece. We've scored and cut, which gives me this lovely kind of, I love this one. And you see the design there with the steps in it.
It's so good, the template.
And then it just folds down to 6 by 6 for it to go in your envelope. So I've done a little bit of matting and layering with some scraps of cardstock that I had lying around. So little pieces of paper, little pieces of baby blue Centura pearl for the matting and layering. And I've got my other bits ready to go. And then what I've done with this one, pretty much the same as what I'd got here. So we'll lose that one, we'll use this one. And I'm going to put this one on the front here. And then I've done exactly the same, whoops, on a longer strip that's going to go in the back. So you can see we just need to get those stuck down. I'll just do that really quickly with the tape pen. If you like to use your wet glue, then I would go with the all-purpose glue. So again, just turn it round so that I can see. But these have all been done using that template. So you've got all the mats and layers in there for you to cut. Really fabulous idea, whoever came up with it. So again, this one's going to go in the front here. And you've just got that nice little white border all the way around. And then if I lay it flat, I need to layer this one up. So again, just using that tape pen, like I said, take it steady and then break that adhesive. If you don't do the flick, you'll get that adhesive coming out of the end of the tape pen, and that's where sometimes it gets into difficulty. But we're going to mat that one onto top of the blue again. And then that one's going to go in the square. And the reason I picked the blue here was because I thought we could do a little baby boy card. So again, this one's going in here, but it's just showing how, you know, it doesn't have to be. When we did the first card, we made the embossing folder very much the focus of the card, but just adding bits of it in here, all right, just makes that difference. And then what I've done is I've just used some of my alphabet dies, and we're just going to pop this in the centre here now for the little baby boy. So again, it's a lot of the headache taken away by having that. I know a lot of you bought into the template library, and just by having those sort of all those different card shapes at your touch of your hand, ready to go, just makes it so much easier. That one can go in the middle there. And then again, because I've got my little animal characters out, I thought, oh, right, we'll just decorate it with a couple of little animals because it's going to be a new baby card. So we've got our mats and layers at the ready. And then I've stamped out, and that was from the same set, actually. That's where this one came out. I pulled this out because it had the word baby and ended up using other things from it as well. So I've just popped that on a little foam pad. And because I'm going on to the ink, I do like to add a little bit of the tacky glue as well, just on there as well. So that one's going to go at the front, that side, I think. And then I thought, how fun to have this little guy in here as a decoration. I just love him. So again, this bit stays flat, so I can afford to bridge the two pieces here rather than sticking it in one. So this one's actually going to go from here onto this one, like so. And then the one that's sat down, I thought if I tucked him behind the sentiment at the front there, it looks as if he's sat then on here. Okay. So again, move those out of the way, and then it all folds flat into that 6x6 from the point of view of popping it in an envelope. And what looks really cool, actually, I didn't do it, I thought about it, was if you pop where your envelope folds over and you've got the triangular piece that you seal the envelope with, if you pop that bit into your folder, so you just have the flap of the envelope inside, you would probably need the larger plates to pop that through with the rest of your envelope on it. But you then get this texture, whatever you've used here, that coordinates with the inside on the flap of the envelope as well. But if I turn you that one round, just a really cheeky way of including those embossing folders to make your backgrounds rather than using all papers there. And then, as I say, it folds flat, or you've got those lovely steps inside.
That is incredible.
Really, really
Jan.
pretty, aren't they?
Yeah, so pretty. Everyone's loving that. Gareth's saying he lives through his template library, absolutely, as we all do. It is amazing. Tracy is asking a question, Jan, just asking what card would you actually use to create the card that you've just made?
The one that I've just made, again, multi-purpose card all the way.
Yeah.
I get through so much of that cardstock, it's unreal. I order it in like 3 packs at a time.
Yeah.
Because I use it for absolutely everything.
Yep.
So, you know, you can stamp on it, you can die cut it, it's strong enough to be your card blanks, whatever. You can do your inking techniques on it, which is why we renamed it multi-purpose. So yeah, that is my go-to cardstock pretty much. The only time I would pull watercolour out is if I was doing something that had a lot of water content in it, or if I was using, for example, the aqua markers. Just while I'm on that note, actually, while I've got those out, we did have a question earlier, Debbie, about doing a glycerin technique.
Yes.
Now, I wouldn't use glycerin with our ink pads. That it's not necessary. The ink pads will blend well enough without any kind of extra medium. I tend to use the glycerin with the aqua markers, and we tend to, you've seen us scribble this out and then use the glycerin in the applicator, scoop up the ink from the pen, which makes the pen behave like an ink pad. but I certainly wouldn't add any glycerin to the ink pads themselves. They don't need it. So yeah, it's not really, we've not got these on the show this morning, which is why I haven't included the glycerin technique. So next time I get the aqua pens on a show, I'll build that into the demos for that particular show.
Oh, amazing, that would be amazing.
Yep.
Thank you, Jan. Yeah, no glycerin with your ink pads, that's for sure. McD is asking, talking about the envelopes that you were saying about embossing your envelopes. What could she use to make the envelopes in different sizes?
Oh, we've got the perfect product there, haven't we?
We have, absolutely.
Definitely, yes. If you have a look on the website and look for our enveloper, okay, it's got all different sizes on there. And if you've got an irregular size, I actually did a demo on this a while back. Just very, very quickly, let me just grab, not a piece of paper as such, but if you've got a piece of 12 by 12 paper, yep, okay, and you want to make an envelope, all right, it wants to be a 1/2 inch, I think it is, longer than your card both ways. So for example, measure the length and the width of your card, and I think it was a 1/2 inch extra, and then cut it, yeah? And then you just pop it in at a slant and you can actually make your envelope to fit. So obviously this is going to be too big because I can see here that I've got an offset triangle. I can't remember which show it's on. I will try and work out which show it was on and I'll pop a link. But yeah, you can make envelopes in pretty much any size you want. But standard sizes, which is what we have here on our mat, so the A6, your 6x6, A5, 5x7, 8x8 and so on, those are all covered on the enveloper, and you can get it either in UK measurements or you can get it in US measurements, because I know sometimes if you're working with base card stock, the standard letter size in the States is just a fraction different to what we use as A4 here in the UK. So depending on what you're using, we've altered that sort of the Ultimate Pro and the enveloper so that you can use either of those sizes.
Amazing, thank you for that, Jan. Yeah, so you can just head on to our website and you will find the envelope box on there. Right, we're just going to have another look at this embossing folder mystery bag. We say it's a mystery bag, but you're going to be getting either like for like or products to the value of this in here. £62.92 this would cost you normally. Today's price is £30 or $40. Absolutely incredible. There's a mixture of everything in here. Your textures, like Jan just showed us. I love that Jan just used that on a small amount of card because it does show you don't have to use that large amount of embossing. It's one of my favourite needs to do. Oh, you do need to be quick. This embossing folder mystery bag, 60% of the stock has already gone. And I'm not surprised because you are getting so much in here and you're getting amazing embossing folders. I mean, look at the ones that you're getting here. Just those two, for example, but every single one of these embossing folders, or 2D, 3D, your cut and emboss, your ones with stencils, these are going to last you throughout the entire year for all different themes. They are absolutely incredible. So grab them while you can. 60% of the stock's already gone, £30 a day or $40. So absolutely amazing. Now we do have a daily deal for you. It's one of the things we've started to do, and it's an incredible one today. It's one that I absolutely love. I know the team loves. You're getting these beautiful, your box for all your consumables, and then you're getting your folder. If I just open that folder just so you can see all of your pockets. Oh, trust me. Oh, but you do get the plastic pockets in there. You get all your stamp sets in there. That's absolutely incredible value. Now, the dies you just see me whack across the counter there. These are the ones you're getting. You're getting two of these dies, 5x7, A5 in size, but they are amazing. They literally stamp out your stamps. So whatever designs like this, and then you lay your dies over the top. They've got those very clever crosses on there, those designs, where you just place your crosses on your actual design here. They've got crosses on here, line them up, and they will die cut all of those different sentiments out for you. I've never seen anything like this before, and I think it's truly amazing. You can use your inks, your pigment inks to heat emboss. You can use your colour cards, so all the different colours that I'm showing you come in that box. There is a stamp set for everybody, even Christmas ones. You've got just just amazing, amazing designs on here. Whether you are wishing someone a happy Christmas or congratulating them on a new baby, you have a stamp set for everything. There's inspirational quotes on here. There's congratulations, there's thank you. You're getting so much in this collection, and you are saving over 50%. And if I show you that one, that just gives you a really good idea of all the different mediums that you can cut it out of and have those incredible stamps at your fingertips. And don't worry, because if you when you cut all these out in one go, and you're not going to use all of those sentiments in one go, you've got little pouches that you can put them all into, and you can keep them all neat. So as soon as you know you need a new baby stamp or you need a new happy birthday, you can just go to that pouch, pick out the one you want and put that onto your make. So they're absolutely incredible. You're loving them today as well. You're loving everything that's on the show. So thank you for joining us. We are getting towards the last hour. So we're going to head back to Jan to squeeze in one last demo, Jan.
Right, so again, sticking with the water reactive, but we're also going to incorporate the opaque as well. So this time I have actually got a piece of that watercolour card, mainly because we're going to be using a water technique. And again, I've chosen 3 colours. So we've gone through the mid pink to the darker pink, and then I've brought a purple in at the end. And what I'm going to do is almost like a wash technique. So I just want some of this ink out on my mat. And I'm just going to put the 3 colours out there, ready. And then this time I'm actually going to take the water and spritz the card. So I just want a light covering over my card and a little bit in those inks. And then I'm going to start at the top. I usually have something just to hold the card, because once you wet it, it does tend to curve again. And this time we're actually going to use them to create our background this way. So just by wetting the card allows that ink to move round a little bit further. So we're going to go into the mid-tone, and that will blend in nicely into that top one. And then I'm just going to put a little bit of water out on its own as well, because I want to just go over that one and blend it in a little bit better. And then I'm going to bring the purple up from the bottom. And again, when we get to that pink layer, add a bit of the pink and just blend that middle out. So you can see we've got that nice ombre effect. I'll wash the paintbrush out in a second. Again, I've finished with the ink, so I'm just going to clean this up. And again, you know, if you're at home, I'd be getting some cardstock to dip in here rather than wasting it all. But just, I can see that time ticking away again. It never goes this quick when you're doing the ironing or the cleaning up, does it? But when you're crafting, it's like being in the TARDIS. Now, again, I'm just going to make sure that that one is dry or dryish before we do the next part of the technique. So again, just a quick, you can see where I've just put my finger. That's what I was talking about lifting the ink. It's actually on my finger. But we're going to stamp over the top of it, so it should be okay. And yes, whoever it was earlier that mentioned actually turning over and heating from the back, it does tend to help sort of flatten. It will, it's curling up at the minute, but it will flatten out again eventually. And then turn it back again. You can see it starting to go back down. So just work with it until you've got it where you want it to be. Now I'm going to do the water splat technique again, but because I've dried it, you get a slightly, different effect. So if you put the water splats on while your ink is wet, you get that lovely kind of starburst effect. But if you dry the card a little bit more, they tend to just be spots. So again, let's get some water on there. Use that nature of the ink there. Tend to turn it because all my splats go there. I've not brought, I usually use my little fan brush for this, and I know it's still sat on my desk at home. Okay, so that's that one. Again, make sure you've got clean paper, and then you're just going to blot this off. And it just lifts. I just love that effect that you get with it.
So nice.
And then what I'm going to do is we're actually going to stamp on top of this now. So this is where the opaque ink comes in. But first of all, I'm using all three on this. I'm going to use the quick dry first, and I'll explain why when we do the stamping. But because this is just slightly damp, I'm just going to use my little anti-static pad over the top of it, because I only want the ink, the embossing powder to stick to where I've stamped. Okay. Now, if you don't have one of these, you can just use a bit of regular talc or a bit of cornstarch, something like that. And it's just basically to get rid of the moisture. And then I'm going to pop this into our platform, or whatever it is you're using for the stamps. And then this is another one that's in your stamping goodie bag, so that good things take time. I love these kind of, you know, just positivity sayings and mindfulness sayings. I think they're great as far as stamps are concerned.
Absolutely.
And then just position it wherever you want it in there. I'm trying to sort of aim for the centre in this one. Pick it up with here. Now, you've got options here. You can use your sticky ink, so the one that we talked about at the top of the show. You can use this one. If you've got a black embossing powder, I want a nice glossy black embossed finish on here. But what I tend to find with that is I get a lot of little black dots where I don't want them. Using the clear embossing powder doesn't show up. So I'm going to use that opaque pigment ink. But what I've found is that the depth of colour in these isn't quite as strong as some of the others. So what I tend to use is my quick dry first. So I want that depth of colour, and these are really nice black. I know you sound silly when you're talking about black, but there are different shades of black. But this one's a really nice dark black. So I'm going to use the quick dry first over the top. Okay. And I'm going to build this up. So I'm going to go a couple of times with the quick dry. You can see we're starting to get it there. I've just missed a little bit on that outside edge there. There we go. And then I'm going to go over it again with the quick dry, just to build up that black, like so. So as many times as you want with this one to build up that depth of black. I want it to be really sort of black and glossy. So let's just have a look and see. We'll do one more of that one, just to get it to soak in there and get that real depth of colour. And then you can either go over it with your sticky ink, so you can use this one because we want something to attract the embossing powder. I'm actually going to use the black opaque pigment, so it's going to continue intensifying that black. This is too dry to put anything over the top of it. So what I want now is that layer that's going to stay wet, and the opaque inks will stay wet that bit longer, enough for you to get your embossing ink over the top, your embossing powder, should I say, over the top. So again, I'm going to layer it all up, add that one that's wet, and then I've got my clear embossing powder at the ready again. Make sure that that's all transferred nicely, and then take it out, whoops, and then we're just going to pop that lovely clear embossing powder of it. And again, you can see where it's gone all opaque again now, so it's actually clinging to it. And then again, bring in your heat tool and make sure it gets hot. As I say, that's the key. Make sure it's hot before you go anywhere near the embossing powder. And then just aim it. So again, we'll start in this bottom corner here. Aim it at the bottom, and then you'll see that start to melt and that lovely black come through here, look. Again, it's just like magic. So just chase it around. Once it's turned black and glossy, you can move on then to another part of that embossing powder. Don't hold over it too long, otherwise it tends to start to go flat again. So I'm just chasing it around the design, trying to stay away from my fingers for a second because it's very hot. And then I'm going to turn it and do that last bit so that I don't heat my fingers. As I say, it never gets old, this, no matter how many times you do it.
Yeah, it's definitely got that wow factor about
Honestly,
it, hasn't it?
and then I'm going to lift you this up now and just have a look at this on here. And we just look at that. just really black and glossy. And again, popping it onto the black card, you can see the difference. And all I did was just take one of my alcohol markers and just colour in the little flowers at the bottom here with some purple, just to sort of bring it in line with the rest of it. And that is simply, I've just got foam pads on the back. And again, that's going to be the front of my card. I'm not going to do anything else to it. I don't need a sentiment because it is actually, you know, a sentiment itself. Make sure we're the right way. We'll do a top fold this time. That nice big white border so that it draws your eye into the centre with the colour. And then I've just popped, again, little piece inside just to stabilise it. And you've got that sort of sentiment there with the inks, just taking centre stage. And I think sometimes that's all it needs. You know,
Absolutely.
very, very, as I say, powerful these with the positivity stuff and the mental health, the mindful stuff.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, Jan, and that is so beautiful. Right, we're going to give Jan just a little bit to line up her cards so we can do a vote of the show. Brenda is saying that I have just the cut and emboss folders and some of the sentiments. I've never heat embossed before, so thank you, Jan, for showing that tip. And I think that's what we forget. We forget that there's so many crafters out there that don't do some of the things that we might do every day. So it's always good to keep recapping on those. Maureen's saying hello to all. She loves everything that Jan has done this morning. It's so inspirational, and a big thank you. Jamie is saying nice background technique. I'm going to do this with my stamps. And Felicity is saying I'm so pleased to see Jan back. I just love watching her demonstrations. I joined late, but I should go back and watch the show through. Yes, absolutely. Right, so Jan's got her mates. Let's put a number to each one of those, Jan.
So we've got 4 then to go into the vote, because the first ones were just those techniques show the differences between the inks. So number 1, we use one of the components from that gorgeous mystery bag that we've got on with the embossing folders with that grand oak, and just jazzed it up with inks and gilding wax there. So that's number 1. Number 2, we use the water reactive inks and one of the stamps, and this stamp is a part of the mystery stamp bag. So again, number 2 there with that plain, just sort of flat design. Number 3 was going back to the embossing folders, and the leopard print or something very similar is in that embossing, and we just used it to make some of our backgrounds there on the shutter card. So that was number 3. And then number 4, the stamp again in this one or something very similar to it will be in that stamping mystery bag, and using the inks to make that background wash with that lovely sort of shiny glossy embossing on the sentiment, number 4. So 1, 2, 3 or 4 this morning.
Okay, so get your votes in. You've only got about a minute or 2 to get those votes in, and then that will go through to the later shows. Now, we do have a showstopper, so all the inks that Jan has been using throughout the show, they have been within this bundle, including all the colours. Our first ones here, we've got our water reactive, so they're the ones that Jan was showing that are our blendable capabilities, and they're just incredible and react very well with water. We've then got our pigment ink pads, which I know mine and Jan's favourites. They are incredible, just the most amazing pigmented ink there. They're really vibrant colours. You've then got your quick drying ink pads, which are incredible to use for literally what it says on the tin, quick drying, dry straight away, but also, like Jan was just showing, building up that colour before you put your pigment on top. So a really clever idea there. You're getting 31 ink pads, 10 of each of those, because you're also getting your translucent wet ink pad. This is great if you've got all your different colour embossing powders. It means then you can put all of those, this stamps really well, and then you put those ink coloured embossing powders onto those as well. All 31 ink pads today for £120. Now we know that's a considered purchase, but if you want to do for all that bundle today, we are giving you an additional 100 bonus points in that one as well. But do check out the website, because we do each one of these bundles, 10 ink pads individually, and you're still saving 30% on each one. So if you want to go for your water reactive ones, you can. If you want to just go for your pigment ones today, or if you want to go for your quick drying ones, those 10 ink pads you are saving 30% on, which is incredible. We have a winner, Jan. So demo of the show goes to number 3.
There we go. Thank you very much.
I think it's that template library, but
Honestly,
also
it's worth its weight in gold. To those of you that got it, use it. Honestly, I love it.
Yeah, but I think what that technique shows is just how good embossing folders are with just using small amounts,
Yep.
not that full fundo,
Yep.
which is amazing. Right, I've got to tell you, I'm really excited. I couldn't wait to see this next show. So come back in an hour's time. Jan, what have we got in an hour's time?
Shall we have a little sneaky peek?
Shall we have a little sneaky peek?
I'm just going to grab one of them, and I'm just going to, we did give a little hint last week that there was some sparkle on its way. I'm just going to show you there in a tub. George is coming to have a look. There you go, look. Okay, so tune in at 2 o'clock.
2 o'clock,
So I had to
yes.
think then, 2 o'clock, yeah. I'm definitely going to be messy about it. I'm keeping it to wraps, under wraps for now. But yeah, you may have seen some little teasers on social media. I know some of the team have been actually sort of sharing. But honestly, from my point of view and my style of crafting, I am so excited about these coming into our range. I really am. And I'm going to show you how to use them later on at 2 o'clock. So yeah, I hope you can join us.
Of course you will. Of course you're going to come back, because the excitement in the building, the excitement of these pace are just amazing. It's the first time we've done them. So come back in an hour's time. We're going to go and grab some lunch. So you do the same thing. Grab a cup of tea, get yourself comfy, and we see you back at 2 o'clock. Bye.